Hello and welcome back. Today we look at those who vanished from Wales. Like all my other missing people videos, if you have any information, all the contact details will be in the description. But let's head straight into the cases. Catrin Maguire went to Bangor University in Wales. She had no known mental health issues and was just 22 years old when she went missing in November 2021. She bought a return ticket to Holyhead and then vanished. The way the police handled this investigation was horrendous. North Wales Police produced a damning report on its own work on the case, finding 6 unacceptable failings. Some were over poor communication, which included a lack of a family liaison officer, the performance of a call handler who gave false information, and 3 officers showing an unprofessional attitude and disrespect to the family. The Assistant Chief Constable, Gareth Evans, appeared on a TV programme, and the family said that this actually made their faith in the force even more damaged. On the episode, he said, "We are looking to relaunch the appeal to try to get more information out of the community. This is a real significant shift in what the police force had told the family. It had previously said it had no way of progressing its investigation and would only review the case if further information came to light." Catrin's parents, Jerry and Wendy, only learned the news when they read an article which was previewing the TV show. They said, "We are livid at the police for not communicating with us what they intended to do yet again. There is nothing worse than having to read it online. Communication is the key thing they said they've now addressed in cases like this, and we're thinking, no you haven't. We're finding things out secondhand and it's upset to the family again." They feel like this renewed appeal that they talked about on this TV show was just a token gesture, driven by the media pressure. Her dad, Jerry, said, "They have to be seen to be doing something, but I think if it wasn't for us bringing their failings into the open through the programme and to other media, this would not have happened." In response, North Wales Police spokesman said, "Whilst no ongoing missing person case is ever closed, a renewed appeal is something the force will often consider and is in no way out of the ordinary." Unfortunately, in many other missing person videos that we've had a look at, police failings are a huge part of them. The information that we have at the moment is that Catrin was last seen in the afternoon of the 15th of November 2021, walking near the South Stack Cliffs, which is a nature reserve. Her exact movements are a little unclear, but on the 15th of November, she bought a train ticket to Holyhead early in the morning. This indicated that she would return back to her flat. She arrived in Holyhead at 11:30 a.m, and a camera placed her walking past a secondary school at around 12:20 p.m. Her last confirmed sighting was at 1:18 p.m. by a cafe in South Stack. Her friend messaged her at 2 p.m. to remind her that they had a meeting with their letting agent at 4 p.m. and to sign the contract to their flat. Catrin did not respond to this text message. Her friend then contacted Catrin's parents to see if they have seen or heard from her, which they hadn't. At this point, she had been unaccounted for over 28 hours, and her parents reported her missing to the police. There were extensive searches of land and sea by the police and other volunteers, but there was no evidence to see where she had gone. She had simply vanished. Some other factors were there was no known mental health issues with her. She also had a really close-knit group of friends. She was studying health and social care, and she had made plans that she would take a gap year and travel after completing her degree and then enroll at a university in Birmingham to pursue a master's. In the August of the same year that she disappeared, she actually attempted to file a police report for verbal assault and harassment against the letting agent of a flat that she shared with her friend. She had emailed the letting agent to inform her that there was an odd smell in the corner of her bedroom, her mattress was broken, and there was a bee's nest outside her friend's bedroom window. The letting agent turned up shortly after she received the email. The letting agent was then verbally abusive to such an extent that her business partner had to take her outside. By this point, the letting agent was so angry she smashed her own phone. Catrin had tried several times to report this incident to the police, but the police turned her away. It was only after she disappeared that the incident was investigated. No charges were brought against the letting agent on the basis that she did not have any previous criminal charges. At this point, Catrin moved back in with her parents. After she disappeared, her friends said that around this time they began to grow concerned for her and noticed that she wasn't acting like her usual self. Her parents, Jerry and Wendy, believed that all was fine, but were not aware of the full extent to which she had been harassed by her letting agent and the business partner. Catrin soon found another flat to rent with her friend. It had been arranged with the letting agent that they were to meet to sign a contract at 4 p.m. on the 15th of November, but she didn't arrive. Her family still pushed for more information and appeal relentlessly. So like I said in the intro, if you have any information on her missing person case, all the contact details are in the description. But now we move on to our second missing person. Tony Haigh was 50 years old when he disappeared on the 23rd of February 2018 from the area he lived in Anglesey. Earlier on that Friday during the day, he travelled to Morrison's to buy food in preparation for his son's regular weekend visit. He dropped home by his mother at around 12:15. Later, Tony is seen on CCTV pushing his bike along and arguing with a man he bumps into. Tony then goes to the dentist where he has his teeth whitened and books a second appointment for September. Later on, Tony is seen going to the same local estate 3 times that evening and night. He is spotted walking with his bike on Lower Baptist Street at 20 to 10. The last known sighting of Tony on CCTV was at Tan Altron Close, Richmond Hill, which was not far from his flat. He is not seen on the CCTV cameras walking his normal route to his house, which included a shortcut he would often take through an alley. CCTV did capture 2 men near his property around the same time that his neighbours reported hearing people standing outside shouting Tony's name. Tony was reported missing by family after they realised he hadn't been seeing text messages, and then they searched his flat. The only thing missing was Tony's tablet, which could only be used with Wi-Fi. The charger was also missing and his bedroom drawers had been rummaged through. Like Catrin's family, Tony's family have spoken about how they also feel let down by the initial police response to his disappearance. They believe Tony may have been a victim of murder, but the police said it found no evidence to support that theory, and that the most likely hypothesis is that Tony took his own life by jumping off the breakwater into the Irish Sea. An internal review of the case upheld allegations of unacceptable performance by North Wales Police, including a failure to keep the family updated and no consistent reporting officer. After learning of the failings in the Catrin Maguire case, Tony's son Zach told a TV programme, "Holyhead is a small town, and how can this happen twice in the space of a few years? How can they mess up that bad? It's quite shocking because it's a few years later and very similar findings. I just don't understand how that can happen after all the complaints and reports." There has been no movement in Tony's case. Mark Kinson was 52 years old when he was last seen on the 31st of January 2025 in Uphill Road, Llanrumney in Wales. It's thought that he turned into Clwyd Road and went around to Captain's Walk and down towards Fishpond Wood. Since he disappeared, his wife Angela, his 4 sons, siblings, extended family and friends have been looking everywhere for him. There have been searches, posters around the city, and appeals have reached far and wide, but there has been no further information since he was last seen at 10:20 p.m. on that Friday evening. Police have said that the father, Mark, is around 5'7" tall and was wearing a dark grey-blue tracksuit and white shoes at the time of his disappearance. The police have said they are urgently seeking any dashcam footage from Sunday, the 2nd of February between 7:45 p.m. and 9 p.m. along the route from the Texaco garage in St Mellons to the Esso garage in Marshfield. They are also requesting footage from Cypress Drive in St Mellons between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. on the same day. His wife Angela said, "Every morning I wake up to a living nightmare. There is just no trail. It's heartbreaking and so out of character for Mark. The not knowing is horrendous for his family and children. They just want their dad home. Now we move on to the longest missing persons case in Wales. James Nutley was 25 years old when he disappeared while on a golfing trip in Pembrokeshire on the 24th of October 2004, and to this day no one knows what happened and has never seen him. James from Caldecott had visited a few pubs that evening when he was last seen. The last recording of him on CCTV was near the Gilter Hotel at 3 minutes to midnight where he was staying, but what happened after that no one knows. James' driving licence and other cards were later found on the seaside town's South Beach, but his parents don't believe he would have taken his own life, as he was happy and enjoying his dream job demonstrating at golf clubs. His dad Geoffrey told BBC News that what happened to James is still a mystery, but insisted they haven't given up. It is hanging over you all the time. We were thinking he'll turn up in a day or two. 20 years later, we're still thinking, where is he? There was one person that was arrested in the case. Pembroke dockman Richard Fairbrass confessed, telling police how he and his girlfriend took James's life and placed him in the sea at Stack Rocks. However, he later said he'd made up the whole story and was jailed for 2 years in 2006 for attempting to pervert the course of justice. A new image was released in 2024 to mark 2 decades of his disappearance and what he may look like now. His parents said, "There is no evidence to suggest that he's dead. How did those cards get out of his wallet and lie on the beach like that? Were they put there deliberately? The seawall was high. He'd have a hell of a job falling into the sea by accident. There was no evidence of him anywhere other than the wallet and cards. There is someone somewhere that knows what happened." At the time of his disappearance, James was described as white, 6'2" with blue eyes and brown hair. He was last seen wearing a white top with blue sleeves and blue jeans. The image reconstruction, unfortunately, has not given any new leads of inquiry into his disappearance. And now we move to Swansea, where James Beer, who was 29 years old, was last seen at 8:30 p.m. on the 17th of May 2023. James was described as 5'8" tall with a slim build, light brown short hair and possibly a goatee. James logged out of his computer around 4:30 a.m. on the 18th of May 2023, and his family believe that he then went to a remote part of mid-Wales, known as the Desert of Wales. He liked the area in the east called Tregaron. The family added that James could be anywhere and they would appreciate if people in all areas keep an eye out for him. They said a few family members have gone to look for him through the night. He doesn't drive, so he would be on foot or using public transport. He's not really a city person, so we're looking at more rural areas. When James talked to his mum on the Wednesday, he did not speak about any plans to go on a trip. It's very out of character and not like him at all. His family said he always lets us know where he's going and when, and he will plan it out. The family believe that James is in a vulnerable state of mind, are urging anyone who sees him to call the police. They believe he would have a rucksack and James may be wearing a bottle green light jacket and navy baseball cap. He has a forearm tattoo of a bird. And now to the mountains of Wales. Martin Clatworthy was 57 years old when he went missing on the 7th of March 2023. He was last seen at 11 a.m. on the Tuesday in Blackham, Rhondda. He was 57 years old. Members of the Central Beacons Mountain Rescue were called in by South Wales Police in the early hours of Thursday morning to help with a search amid snow, ice and heavy rain conditions. They were assisted by members of the Western Beacons Mountain Rescue Team throughout the Thursday, who helped carry out a search in which was described as challenging conditions. A statement said they had been searching in numerous areas of mountain sides. The search was stood down late on the Thursday evening. A statement said, as darkness fell, sadly nothing had been found and we were stood down for the day. Police have said that Martin is 5'7", has brown eyes and short dark hair. He was last seen wearing black jeans and a fleece. Like many other cases we have covered, there is little to no information for this case. Mark Harris has been missing since the 13th of June 2022. He was 64 at the time of his disappearance and went missing from Cardigan. And now a case from the same year. Roger Simmons was 78 years old when he went missing on the 18th of May 2022 from his home in Neath Valley. Police said at the time he was well known for wearing a high-vis jacket, but officers said despite extensive inquiries, their search had drawn a blank and they were renewing an appeal for help. Detectives said they were particularly keen to hear from anyone who knew him and who could help them piece together details of his life and activities, but unfortunately there has been no new leads in the inquiries. Now on to the case of Glyn Griffiths, who was 60 years old. He was last seen on the evening of Sunday the 20th of June 2021. Earlier in that day, between midday and 12:45 p.m, CCTV footage showed him outside Asda in Caerphilly. On the 26th of June, police issued an appeal to locate his car, a black Suzuki. This car was later found on the 28th of July, but Glyn was nowhere to be found. Despite extensive searching by his family, Gwent Police and the Central Beacons Mountain Rescue Team, his whereabouts are still unknown. His cousin, Kathleen Robinson, said he had been a carer for his mum, who has had dementia since 2016. She said he idolised his mum and that it was out of character for him to stop visiting her. A Gwent Police spokesperson said this is still a live, ongoing investigation and specialist officers continue to look for any information that we receive in relation to this inquiry. We encourage anyone to come forward with information relating to his disappearance. He is described as 5'9" of small build with grey hair. There has been no movement in his case. This case takes us out of the 2000s and into the 90s. Roger Evans was last seen on the 16th of January 1996. When he went missing, he was a mature student at Aberystwyth University. Police found his parked car close to a dangerous estuary near the seaside village of Borth. The divorced father of one was a fan of the outdoor life, and despite an extensive search by police on both sides of the Irish Sea, he has never been found. David Hugh Jones was 54 when he disappeared from Treador on the 15th of November 2019. CCTV shows that he left his home around noon. Inspector Ashley Bryce said, "We know that David enjoyed walking along the country paths around his home village. However, since the November there have been no further sightings of him. In that time we have worked very closely with the Coast Guard, search and rescue teams, bus and rail providers, as well as the public, and did extensive searches and had inquiries conducted. We hope people see appeals and it jogs someone's memory. If you have seen David since November or know anything that could help our investigation, please contact us." Despite all these searches and inquiries, he has simply vanished. His family and friends have never heard or seen him again. The next case takes us to a small town in Wales called Aberdare, where Jordan Moray disappeared when he was 32 years old on the 24th of July 2019. He was a former boxer, and when he disappeared, the door to his flat was left open, with his games console still running and his mobile phone left charging. Despite huge efforts and searches, South Wales Police said there have been no signs of life, no financial transactions, nor any contact with anyone else. On a TV show, the police revealed that they received a handwritten letter just 3 months into their investigation of Jordan's disappearance. In this TV episode, South Wales Police Sergeant Gareth Davies explained that the letter was from an individual who wrote that they felt they had information on his disappearance. Part of the letter said, "I should have come forward a little bit sooner. Jordan has been on my mind for weeks." Sergeant Davies said the person wrote that they had been walking their dog along the road in the early hours of the morning after Jordan was last seen, when they saw a Land Rover parked up on the curb by the school. They wrote that they had heard rustling and someone shouting out, "Is anyone out there? Please help me." Sergeant Davies also said the person who wrote the letter suggested some possible leads which the police force had explored, but that others mentioned in that letter could still be examined. He believes there are a number of possible scenarios. He was taken by a third party, that he left of his own accord to take his life, that he had gone up the mountains and had been injured or in an accident and unable to call for help, or that he was living off the grid either alone or with someone else. Jordan's mother, Debbie, said, "I picked Jordan up to go shopping on the day I last saw him. I dropped him off and he said he would see me tomorrow. She informed Jordan that she was on an early shift at work, but he told her he would still see her, and that was it. She said Jordan enjoyed boxing and was the Welsh champion for 3 years. He was very quiet, kept himself to himself, a bit of a loner. Jordan enjoyed the outdoors and would often walk up the mountains and cook for himself there. Debbie still goes out walking 3 times a day looking for Jordan." Our next case places us back in Swansea, and it's a more well-known case. Tapiwa Matuwi was 21 years old when he was last seen on CCTV near Swansea Marina at 7 in the morning on the 7th of February 2019. He had been out with friends at the Fiction nightclub on the city's Wind Street. His father said he could not understand how no one could have seen him on the busy street. Police have renewed their appeals, and his family said, "It is like our son just vanished and no one seems to know anything. We are scarred forever. We have an important part of our family missing." The IT graduate, known as Tappy to his friends, was spotted on CCTV at Castle Gardens, the St David student accommodation, and finally near the marina on the night he disappeared, but since then no evidence has been found, and there has been numerous appeals, but no one has contacted the police or family with information about what happened. His father says, "It is a case that we are stuck. There are no leads, you can only imagine. There is CCTV and then no information. It is like a wild goose chase. I know somebody knows something or saw something, but no one is saying anything." The whereabouts on the night he disappeared are as follows. He had been to a local nightclub called Fiction. He was seen later on CCTV at a nearby fast food restaurant with friends at 4:40 a.m. After 8 minutes in the restaurant, which he seemed happier and joking, he was spotted leaving the restaurant on his own in a light jog. CCTV then captured him returning to his student accommodation, and then at 5:10, less than a minute later, he leaves again walking in the same direction from which he arrived. 20 minutes later at 5:30 a.m, he is seen on CCTV outside a local supermarket. The last time he is seen on CCTV is him arriving on foot at Swansea Yacht Club at 7:06 a.m. in the local marina. His WhatsApp account was last active 2.5 hours before his final sighting. His phone or his bank card have never been used since. At the time of his disappearance, he was wearing a black baseball cap, a bright red jacket with white lettering, a white hoodie and blue jeans. He is 6 foot tall and had distinct hair at the time of his disappearance, with the tips dyed orange. Unfortunately, there has been no movements. This case is of a very popular man from his local town Llandudno in Wales. Tim Evans was 59 years old when he went missing on the 29th of March 2018. His wife Maria Evans said the joy in life has gone. Her husband was with her for 30 years. Tim left their home on the 29th of March and has not been seen since. Despite issuing several heartbreaking appeals pleading for the 59-year-old dad of 2 to return, the family are no less closer to getting answers. He's described as 5'5" tall and of large build. He left behind a note as well as his coat, wallet and phone. He was suffering with a spinal condition which caused him chronic pain as well as depression. Police, sniffer dogs and search and rescue teams as well as a helicopter were involved in the hunt, and the family rounded up a search party in the weeks after his disappearance. Speaking to North Wales Live to mark a year since his wife had last seen him, she said, "Every day is painful and leaves her feeling hollow. I have got through the last 12 months because of the amazing support I had from my family and friends. I have also had counselling through the Missing People charity, which is still so helpful." Unfortunately, there have been no new leads in his disappearance and he has never been found. Now this next case is in a small village in Wales, Acre Fair, where David Davies went missing on the 3rd of April 2013. His disappearance was said to be out of character and he was 69 years old. In 2023, North Wales Police said in respect of Mr Davies' case it remains open. The 69-year-old was due to meet a neighbour for an appointment on this date, but he failed to turn up. It was described by police as out of character and led officers to conduct house-to-house inquiries after the neighbour raised concerns. At the time he went missing, he was described as 5'11" tall, heavy build with a thick beard. He usually wore jeans, a fleece top and woolly hat and was well known in the local community. He disappeared in the days after he received a ban from keeping horses by Wrexham magistrates in April 2013. The horse breeder had pleaded guilty to 6 charges of causing unnecessary suffering under the Animal Welfare Act. 21 horses owned by him on the 120 acres of land were relocated by the RSPCA. The day before he went missing, he was seen by 2 people in the local area, but no one knows where he was going. He didn't go to the bank or Tesco's as he usually would, and he would have been very distinctive on his blue Ford tractor. Despite this information, he has still never been seen or heard from since. Now on to our second female case in this video. Christine Bracken was 39 years old when she went missing from Swansea on the 19th of May 1979. She was known as Sister Jacqueline Bracken and was based at the Stella Maris Convent in Swansea. She disappeared while shopping for a pair of stockings for her mother. She was originally from Ireland and was last seen near the city's multi-storey car park by 2 children that she taught. Her handbag was found on the foreshore the day after she disappeared by a local boatman, about 30 feet from the West Pier, but nothing was found in a police search of the area. It was first thought she had returned to Ireland, but this theory was ruled out when all her belongings, including her sailing ticket and cash, were found where she lived. Another theory involved the nun getting sucked into a hole in the wall of Swansea's docklands. Police said at the time she would often walk along the sand and mud banks of the old docklands on her way back from work from shopping in the city centre. At the far end of the dock there was a large hole in the wall which police say had a lot of suction. There were plenty of theories at the time and even now. Detective Andy Hughes, who was overseeing the case for South Wales Police, said other theories involved her falling into the dock, deliberately throwing herself into the water, or the involvement of a third party, but because she was Catholic it's unlikely that she took her own life. The other theory is that she is alive and well, living a new life in another part of the world. He said, "My own gut feeling, having done the 6-monthly review of the case, is that she went into the water. Whether it was harming herself or whether a third party was involved was pure speculation. No passport has been issued or a death registered under her name since she has been missing." He said, "Unfortunately, we are still unable to find her after all these years. We are keeping this case open and will be conducting further investigation shortly. Hopefully, we can get an answer to it." As of right now, the case still remains like it did in 1979. A mother, grandmother and wife disappeared suddenly on the 31st of January 2016 from her home in Cardiff. Lorraine Ridout went to visit a friend in a nearby street but never made it to her destination, and what happened to her remains unknown. There were extensive searches in the area which involved South Wales Police, the National Crime Agency, British Transport Police and the National Police Air Service, but nothing has been found. While life has continued for her family and friends, it is a constant pain to her children, her husband and all of them of what happened. Lorraine's daughter Christine said, "All she and the family could hope for is closure. It's not normal to have someone in your family go missing, and I think every time another year passes it feels worse. I hope one day she is found, but we could end up having to live with this for the rest of our lives and left in limbo." She has never been seen or heard from since. She hasn't used her bank cards, and there is simply no sign of life. Although the police investigation remains open, the police said it appears all that can be done at present has been done. And now back to Cardigan in Wales, where Owain Roberts, who was 36 years old, went missing in March 2012. On the 10th of March, he sent a loving text to his girlfriend and he has not been seen or heard from since. Lisa, his girlfriend, said, "I had texted him that morning to ask where he was. What came back almost an hour later was a picture and a kiss. He was due to meet his father but failed to show up." In the weeks that followed, Lisa and Owen's family searched desperately for him. He is described as 5'10" of medium build with blue-grey eyes. When he disappeared, he was wearing a black v-neck jumper and jeans. He was carrying a hooded top and rucksack. His hair is short and grey on the sides, while his front left tooth has a chip. He has 4 earrings in his left ear. Despite searches and appeals, there has been no movement in his case. A usual night at the pub turned into a missing persons case. Justin Mathis, who was 29, went missing shortly after having a row with someone else in a pub over a clash of quiz nights. Justin, who was a licensee of the Bridge Hotel in Conwy, had been drinking with colleagues in the nearby George and Dragon. He was arguing with Graham Roberts about a clash of quiz nights at their pubs when Coronation Street star Bruce Jones, who had been drinking in the bar, walked by. At the inquest, Mr. Jones, who played Les Battersby in The Soap, said Justin was loud and argumentative and shouted insults at him before staggering around the bar. The actor said he got in the middle when Justin took a swing at an elderly customer. Justin was asked to leave, but the following morning, on the 4th of February 2011, his partner Gareth Williams reported him missing as he had not returned home. He has never been found. CCTV footage showed Justin entering the quayside area shortly before midnight but not leaving again. Anthony Carr, who lives in nearby Castle Street, told police that as he drove along the quayside he saw a man sitting or crouching against a wall. A massive search operation was launched involving the North Wales Police helicopter and underwater search teams, but he has never been found. A few days later, one of his boots was discovered near the River Conwy. Recording an open conclusion, the coroner said he could not speculate, but it was likely that Justin had fallen into the water. And still at the time of this recording, he has never been found. Although in the inquest it was conducted as an open conclusion, he is still classed as a missing person. This next case is a case of a missing child. Robert Williams went missing from Neath Port, Talbot on the 22nd of March 2002. He was just 15 years old. He went to a party nearby, but despite multiple police appeals, he has never been found. His mother Cheryl said she believed her son was never coming home. She said, "I just want his body back so I can bury him. He deserves that." Detective inspectors of the South Wales Police said the police were committed to finding out what happened to Robert. He said he believed the community held key information that could help them to understand what happened. If you were at the party or have any information regarding Robert's movements or disappearance, we would really like to speak to you. He said it may seem challenging to record details from years ago, but no matter how small or insignificant you think the information you hold is, it could prove vital to our investigation and could help provide Robert's family with much needed closure. In 2023, a 59-year-old woman and a 35-year-old man were arrested but had been bailed. The Detective Inspector David Butt said Robert's mum Cheryl has been updated on these arrests and our thoughts are very much with Robert's family. Despite this movement in his case by these arrests, no one has been charged and he has not been seen or heard from since. And our final case is of another missing child. Jerome Thomas was 15 years old when he disappeared from his hometown of Goobert on New Year's Day in 2001. At the time, he was supposed to be studying for his mock GCSE exams, and he was feeling under pressure and getting into arguments with his parents because of it. At around 1:30 p.m. on New Year's Day, Thomas resolved to go for a walk along the cliff tops near his home and left the house wearing a dark coloured fleece top, navy blue tracksuit bottoms with a stripe, but he never returned home. Yet the next day, Thomas's mother found a dark coloured fleece top and navy blue tracksuit bottoms with a stripe, both soaking wet and in the laundry basket of the house. They seemed to be the exact pieces of clothing Thomas had been wearing when he left the house. A boy matching his description was seen hitchhiking in the area he disappeared from, and there was another sighting of Thomas reported in Portugal. Another source says that Thomas may have also tried to contact his aunt in Crawley, but there has been no movement in the case and no further leads. And that concludes our video today. As always, if you have any information regarding any of these cases that we have covered today, the contact details are in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time.